Captain Emma Foster stood at the observation deck of the U.S. Prometheus, watching Earth grow smaller in the distance. It was humanity's first true interstellar ship, though still using fairly basic technology compared to what they would soon encounter. The ship's mission was simple: test the new faster-than-light drive, traveling to Alpha Centauri and back. "Captain," called out Officer Steve Brown from his station, "we're picking up some strange readings at the edge of our sensor range." Emma walked over to his screen, her boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. The readings didn't make any sense. Objects moving faster than should be possible, energy signatures unlike anything they'd seen before. Multiple ships dropping out of, well, something like a wormhole, ma'am, Steve said, his eyes wide. "They're heading straight for us." The bridge crew fell silent. First contact. They had trained for this, but nothing could truly prepare them for the real thing. Emma took a deep breath and straightened her uniform. "Send the first contact greeting package on all frequencies," she ordered, "just like we practiced." The alien ships were beautiful, sleek vessels that seemed to glow with their own inner light. The largest one, about twice the size of the Prometheus, took position a safe distance away. A transmission came through, and after a few moments, their computers managed to translate it. "Greetings, Earth vessel. We are representatives of the Galactic Council. We come in peace and wish to welcome humanity to the greater community of spacefaring races." Everything was going perfectly. Too perfectly, perhaps. What nobody on the Prometheus knew was that they had other watchers. Hidden behind Saturn's rings, vessels of the Zaxcar Empire observed the first contact with cold calculation. The Zaxcar, a species of tall, reptilian aliens, had a tradition: test any new spacefaring race by force. If they survived, they were worthy of respect. If not, well, their territory would make a nice mining colony. "Pathetic," hissed Supreme Commander Zaxcar, watching the human ship from his cloaked vessel. "Their ship is barely more than a primitive metal box with engines. Begin the test." Back at the moon, alarms suddenly blared across every human colony. Massive ships emerged from nowhere, their weapons already firing. Green beams of energy sliced through communication arrays and power stations. The attack was precise, designed to cripple but not destroy. Yet, on the Prometheus, Emma's crew watched in horror as the transmissions from home went dark one by one. "Multiple hostile ships detected near Earth," shouted Steve. "The lunar colonies are under attack." The Galactic Council representatives seemed genuinely shocked. "This is the work of the Zaxcar," their translator said. "We had no knowledge of their presence in this system. We must withdraw to avoid diplomatic complications." Emma wanted to scream at them to help, but the alien ships were already retreating. The Prometheus was too far to help, and even if they weren't, what could one exploration vessel do against an alien battle fleet? But in a secret facility, deep under the lunar surface, alarms of a different kind were ringing. In a massive chamber that didn't officially exist, Admiral Robert Hayes looked up at humanity's best-kept secret, their real first interstellar ship. "How long until the Leviathan is ready?" he asked Chief Engineer David Miller. David checked his tablet. "We need maybe 30 minutes to finish power-up sequences. We never expected to launch like this." "The Zaxcar are in for one hell of a surprise," Robert said, looking at the enormous dark shape looming above them. "They think they're testing us. Well, they're about to be tested themselves." The Zaxcar Supreme Commander watched with satisfaction as his ships systematically disabled Earth's lunar defenses. Everything was going according to plan. These humans would either surrender quickly or try some brave but futile resistance. Either way, it would be over soon. He had no idea that deep beneath the lunar surface, a ship was waking up. A ship that would change the galaxy's understanding of humanity forever. A ship that combined stolen pieces of alien technology with human innovation in ways no other species had ever imagined possible. The test was about to take an unexpected turn. Last edited 13 hours ago. The Pentagon's underground war room was packed with military leaders, but nobody spoke. They all watched the large screen showing the alien ships attacking the moon. Admiral Robert Hayes stood up, his face calm despite the crisis. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "what you're seeing isn't the whole story. We've been preparing for something like this for 15 years. He pressed a button, and the screen changed to show a massive ship hidden in a lunar cave. Several people gasped. "This is the U.S. Leviathan," Hayes continued, "and it's unlike anything else in the galaxy." Chief Engineer David Miller stepped forward. He was a plain-looking man in his 40s, wearing a simple uniform with oil stains on the sleeves. 10 years ago, we found a crashed alien ship in the Arctic. We've been studying it ever since, but we didn't just copy their technology. We made it better." He pulled up detailed images of the Leviathan. "The aliens think they know what humans can build. They expect metal ships with basic engines and simple weapons. The Leviathan is different. We took their ideas and did what humans do best. We got creative." In the lunar base, crews rushed to prepare the ship. The Leviathan was huge, 3 times bigger than the largest Zaxcar vessel. Its dark hull seemed to swallow light, made of materials that hadn't existed until humans invented them. David walked around the war room, explaining as simple screens showed the ship's features. The hull isn't just armor. It learns from damage and gets stronger. The weapons don't just shoot. They bend gravity itself. And the computer system, it thinks like a human but calculates like a machine. One general raised his hand. "How did we keep this secret?" Hayes smiled. "The same way we built nuclear bombs in the 1940s. We hid it in plain sight. Every piece was built in a different place. Nobody except the core team knew what they were really building." The room shook as another alien attack hit somewhere above. Hayes nodded to David. "Time to show them what we've got." Back on the moon, the Leviathan's crew rushed to their stations. The ship's main control room was unlike anything ever built on Earth. Instead of traditional controls, the crew sat in special chairs that connected directly to the ship's systems. "Power systems online," called out one technician. "Weapons charging," said another. "Hull integrity at 100%, a third reported. David's voice came through the speakers. "Remember your training. This ship might look alien, but it's got human hearts and minds running it. That's what makes it special." In space, the Zaxcar ships continued their attack. Supreme Commander Zaxcar was getting bored. These humans were barely fighting back. Their primitive weapons couldn't even scratch his ship's shields. "Prepare the final attack," he ordered. "Let's end this test and—" "Sir," his sensor officer interrupted. "Something's happening on the moon." The lunar surface cracked open. A massive dark shape rose from the hidden base, its hull reflecting no light, seeming to bend space around it. The Zaxcar watched in shock as the Leviathan emerged fully, hanging in space like a midnight cloud made of metal and power. "Impossible," Zaxcar whispered. His sensors couldn't make sense of what they were seeing. The ship was clearly built by humans. He could see Earth's flag on its side, but it was using technology that shouldn't exist yet. Inside the Leviathan's control room, Captain Amy Wells sat in the command chair. She had trained for this moment for 3 years. "Send a message to all Zaxcar ships," she ordered. "Text only." On every alien ship's screen, words appeared in the Zaxcar language. "You wanted to test us. Test begins now." The Leviathan's engines lit up with a deep blue glow. The ship moved with impossible grace for something its size, accelerating faster than the alien vessels could track. In the Pentagon war room, Hayes watched the sensor readings with satisfaction. "They thought they knew what humanity was capable of," he said quietly. "They were wrong. The real test was about to begin, not of humanity's weakness, but of their strength. And the galaxy was about to learn why you should never underestimate humans and their ability to take something alien and make it uniquely their own. Lieutenant Lisa Chen walked through the Leviathan's main corridor, still amazed by everything around her. The walls seemed to pulse with a faint blue light, and the metal under her feet felt warm and almost alive. This wasn't just a ship, it was something entirely new. She reached the bridge and took her place at the weapons station. The chair adjusted itself to her body, and the neural interface activated with a gentle hum. Through the ship's systems, she could feel the power at her command. "All stations, report," Captain Amy Wells ordered from the command chair. "Engineering ready," came the first response. "Quantum core stable at 95%. Navigation linked and operational. Weapons hot and tracking targets." The captain nodded, her eyes on the massive view screen showing the Zaxcar ships. They hadn't moved yet, probably still trying to figure out what they were looking at. In his own ship, Supreme Commander Zaxcar was doing exactly that. His best scientists were scanning the human vessel, and nothing made sense. The hull, one scientist reported, his scales pale with confusion. "It's not just metal. It's changing, adapting, like it's learning. Their power readings are impossible," another added. "They're using quantum fields in ways we never thought of." Zaxcar growled. "Impossible or not, it's still just one ship. Prepare to." The Leviathan moved. One moment it was hanging in space, the next it was behind 3 Zaxcar ships. No acceleration, no visible movement. It simply appeared there. On the Leviathan's bridge, Navigation Officer Kevin Nash grinned. "Quantum jump successful, Captain. The new drive works even better than in simulations." Lisa watched through her weapons display as the alien ships tried to turn around. The Zaxcar were good, but their ships moved like normal things in space. The Leviathan didn't have to follow those rules. "They're charging weapons," Lisa reported. She could see the energy building in the alien ships. Captain Wells leaned forward. "Show them what we can do, Lieutenant." Non-lethal demonstration. Lisa smiled and activated the gravity weapons. The space around one Zaxcar ship twisted. The alien vessel started spinning, caught in a controlled gravity wave that tossed it around like a leaf in the wind. Through the ship's sensors, they could see panic spreading through the alien fleet. None of their weapons could lock onto the Leviathan. Its quantum armor bent their targeting beams away like water flowing around a rock. In engineering, Chief Engineer David Miller watched the power readings with pride. Every part of the ship was working together perfectly. The quantum core powered the gravity weapons, which fed energy back into the shields, which strengthened the armor. It was an impossible loop that worked because humans had dared to try something no other species had thought of. "Sir," one of his engineers called out, "the hull is learning from their scans. It's already 15% stronger than when we launched." David nodded. "That's my girl," he said, patting the nearest wall. The ship had been his life for 10 years, and now she was proving herself better than even he had hoped. Back on the bridge, Captain Wells received a transmission from Earth. Admiral Hayes appeared on her screen. "Status report, Captain. The ship exceeds all expectations, sir," she replied. "The Zaxcar can't touch us. Their weapons either miss completely or get absorbed by the quantum armor. And our systems are getting stronger the more they try." "Excellent," Hayes said. "Remember, we're not here to destroy them. We just need to show them that humanity isn't as primitive as they thought." A new alert flashed on Lisa's screen. "Captain, they're trying to surround us. 5 ships moving into position." Wells smiled. "Let them try. Mr. Nash, execute pattern Delta. Lieutenant Chen, gravity nets at 30% power." The Leviathan danced through space, moving in ways that ships shouldn't be able to move. Where the aliens expected it to be, it wasn't. When they thought they had it trapped, it simply shifted somewhere else. In his command ship, Zaxcar watched with a mixture of fear and awe. His people had spent 1,000 years perfecting their technology. These humans had taken one look at it and completely changed the rules. The test was supposed to show humanity's weakness. Instead, it was revealing something that would soon echo across the galaxy. Never underestimate a species that could look at the impossible and say, "We can make that better." Commander Brian Peters watched from Earth's Defense Command as more Zaxcar ships appeared from hyperspace. The aliens were done playing games. This was their full attack force. 30 ships, he said into his comm link to the Leviathan. They're forming a battle line. On the Leviathan's bridge, Captain Wells nodded at the report. She could see the alien fleet spreading out like a net, their ships glowing with charged weapons. "They think numbers will make a difference," she said. "Time to prove them wrong." All hands, battle stations. Red lights flashed throughout the massive ship. In engineering, David Miller's hands flew over his controls. Quantum core at full power, hull integrity at 120%. The armors adapted to their weapons. The first shots came from the Zaxcar fleet, a wall of green energy beams that lit up space. The Leviathan didn't try to dodge. The beams hit its dark hull and simply vanished. Hull absorbing 100% of enemy fire. Lisa Chen reported from her weapon station. "Permission to return fire." "Granted," Wells said. "Show them what real weapons can do." Lisa's fingers danced across her neural interface. The Leviathan's gravity weapons came alive, but this time they weren't set for demonstration. Focused beams of distorted space shot out from the ship. 3 Zaxcar vessels found themselves caught in localized gravity wells 5 times stronger than Earth's. Their shields crumpled like paper. Metal hulls groaned and bent. None of the ships were destroyed, but they were squeezed like aluminum cans. By the first egg, Zaxful shouted as he watched his ships being crushed. "How are they doing this?" His science officer was practically crying. "They're controlling gravity itself. The power needed for that, it shouldn't be possible." The Leviathan moved again, using its quantum drive to appear right in the middle of the alien fleet. Now the Zaxcar ships had to be careful. If they missed the human vessel, they'd hit their own ships. "Multiple targets locked," Lisa reported. "They're trying to coordinate their fire." Captain Wells smiled. "Mr. Nash, execute scatter pattern. Let's show them some human unpredictability." Kevin Nash grinned and activated a series of pre-planned jumps. The Leviathan blinked in and out of existence, appearing at a new spot every few seconds. Each time it appeared, its weapons fired, disabling more Zaxcar ships. In Earth's Defense Command, Commander Peters watched in amazement. The battle didn't even look fair anymore. The aliens were fighting like it was a normal space battle, with normal rules. The Leviathan ignored those rules completely. "Their fleet is in chaos," he reported to Admiral Hayes. "They can't coordinate their attacks." Hayes nodded with satisfaction. "Of course not. They expect ships to move in straight lines, to follow physics as they understand it. We designed the Leviathan to break those expectations." Back in space, the battle was turning into a rout. 5 more Zaxcar ships found themselves caught in the Leviathan's gravity nets. Their crews watched in horror as their mighty warships were gently pushed together like toys on a table. "Message from the Zaxcar flagship," Lisa announced. They're asking for terms." The bridge crew fell silent. Captain Wells stood up from her chair. "Put me through to Supreme Commander Zaxstall." The alien commander's reptilian face appeared on the screen. His scales had turned a pale gray, a sign of fear in his species. "Your test is complete," Wells said firmly. "We passed. Now you have a choice. Leave Earth space immediately, or find out what else this ship can do." Zaxstall's throat spikes rattled. Another sign of distress. "This is impossible. No species could advance this fast. No one could take our technology and improve it this way." "That's where you're wrong," Wells replied. "You thought you were testing us. We were testing your weapons against our ship the whole time. Even now, our hull is adapting, getting stronger. How many more shots would you like to try?" The alien commander looked at something off-screen, probably damage reports from his fleet. 15 ships disabled, not one human casualty. We withdraw, he said finally. The test is concluded. Humanity has proven itself more capable than we imagined. As the Zaxcar fleet retreated, dragging their disabled ships with them, David Miller's voice came up from engineering. Captain, you might want to know, during that entire battle, we never had to use more than 40% of our total power. Captain Wells sat back in her chair, watching the aliens flee. Let's keep that part to ourselves for now. I think the galaxy has had enough surprises for one day. But this was just the beginning. Soon, stories of the human ship that bent space itself would spread across the stars. The legend of the Leviathan was born. The Galactic Council's emergency meeting chamber was packed. Representatives from 200 alien species sat in the circular room, all talking at once. Videos of the battle between the Leviathan and the Zaxcar fleet played on large screens. Impossible, shouted a blue-skinned alien. No ship can move like that. The footage is real, said another, their tentacles waving in excitement. Our experts checked it 100 times. Intelligence Officer Maria Rodriguez sat quietly in Earth's newly assigned seat, watching the chaos. She understood their fear. In just one day, humanity had gone from primitive newcomers to people who can bend space. The head of the council, a tall being made of crystal and light, called for order. We will now hear the Zaxcar report of the incident. Supreme Commander Zack Stoll stepped to the center of the room. His scales were still pale gray. The human ship, it wasn't just powerful, it was impossible. Our weapons did nothing. Their armor got stronger the more we attacked. They controlled gravity like it was water. Maria smiled to herself as she listened. Her job was to monitor alien communications, and the stories were getting better every hour. Some said the Leviathan could vanish completely. Others claimed it could split into multiple ships. None of them were true, but fear made the stories grow. Back on Earth, David Miller was showing Admiral Hayes the latest data from the battle. Look at these readings, David said, pointing to his screen. Every alien species develops technology in pretty much the same way. They find something that works and stick to it. But humans, we look for new ways to use old things. Hayes finished, and that scares them more than the ship itself. In deep space, a group of pirate ships was about to learn why. They had heard about the new human ship but didn't believe the stories. They thought they could raid a human cargo vessel near Mars. The Leviathan appeared behind them without warning. This is Captain Wells of the U.S. Leviathan. Her voice came over their radios. You have 10 seconds to power down your weapons. The pirates took one look at the massive dark ship and ran. They spread the word. Stay away from Earth ships. All Earth ships. Because you never knew when that monster would show up. Back in the council chamber, Maria watched as more species took the floor to speak. But they weren't angry anymore. Now they were curious. The humans took our basic technology and made it do things we never imagined, said one scientist. Think what they could teach us. Their minds work differently, said another. They don't accept limitations like we do. A small furry alien raised all 4 hands for attention. My people vote to offer humans full council membership immediately. We want to trade with them. Learn from them. Maria's communicator buzzed. A message from Earth. 3 different alien species had already asked to send engineering teams to study with humans. Not to teach, to learn. In the Leviathan's break room, Lisa Chen was showing some crew members the latest alien news videos they'd picked up. The ship was being called the Dark Star in alien languages. Stories said it could appear anywhere, at any time. They're not entirely wrong, Kevin Nash said, drinking his coffee. With our quantum drive, we pretty much can show up anywhere. Captain Wells walked in, and everyone stood up. At ease, she said. Just got word from command. The Zaxcar Empire has officially apologized to Earth. They're even offering to pay for repairs to our lunar colonies. They're that scared of us, someone asked. Not scared, Wells corrected. They're impressed. The Zaxcar respect strength and cleverness. We showed them both. In her office on Earth, Maria Rodriguez finished her daily report. The aliens' fear was turning into admiration. They had expected Earth to either fail the Zaxcar test or just barely pass it. Instead, humanity had changed the rules of the game entirely. Her computer pinged with a new message. Another alien race wanted to establish diplomatic relations with Earth. At this rate, they'd have more allies than they knew what to do with. Not bad for primitives, she said to herself, thinking of how the aliens had first seen humans. Now they were calling Earth's technology impossible and miraculous. But the best part was, the Leviathan wasn't even the most impressive thing humans had built. It was just the first one they'd shown to the galaxy. The aliens were about to learn that when it came to humans, impossible just meant hasn't been done yet. 3 weeks after the battle with the Zaxcar fleet, Captain Wells sat in her command chair, reading reports. Not all the Zaxcar had accepted their empire's surrender. Some ships had gone rogue, attacking helpless cargo vessels. Contact ahead, Kevin Nash called from his station. 3 Zaxcar warships chasing a merchant vessel. Time to earn our reputation, Wells said. Battle stations. The Leviathan dropped out of quantum space right between the pirates and their prey. The merchant ship was small, damaged, but still running. Message from the lead pirate ship, Lisa Chen reported. They're saying, "Oh," she smiled. "They just recognized us. They're running." "Not this time," Wells said firmly. "Mr. Nash, plot their escape routes. Ms. Chen, gravity nets ready." Kevin's fingers flew over his controls. "They'll try to jump to light speed in 5 points. Plotting quantum jumps to intercept." The Leviathan moved like a shadow through space. Every time the pirates tried to escape, the massive Earth ship was there, waiting. Their weapons were useless against the quantum armor, which had only grown stronger since the first battle. "Gravity nets active," Lisa reported. She didn't need full power anymore. She had learned exactly how much force to use. The pirate ships stopped dead in space, caught like flies in a web. In his engineering room, David Miller watched the power readings with pride. "Look at these numbers," he told his team. "The quantum core is running at 20%, and we're still stronger than they are. The ship learns more with every fight." The captured pirates were brought aboard under guard. Their leader, a scared Zaxcar veteran, stared at the inside of the Leviathan with wide eyes. "It's true," he whispered. "The walls, they're alive." "Not alive," David corrected, walking past. "Just smarter than your ships." News of the capture spread fast. Across the galaxy, other pirate groups started avoiding human space completely. It wasn't worth the risk. The Leviathan could appear anywhere, and no one had found a way to fight it. Back on Earth, Intelligence Officer Maria Rodriguez sorted through alien communications. "Sir," she called to Admiral Hayes, "listen to this." She played a message they'd intercepted. "The human ship doesn't follow physics. We hit it with everything. And it acted like our weapons were nothing. Then it moved like it was everywhere at once." Hayes smiled. "Are they still calling it the Dark Star?" "They have new names for it now," Maria said. "The Ghost, the Space Bender, the Impossible Ship." She paused. "Some of them are even making up songs about it." In deep space, the Leviathan continued its patrol. The ship's reputation grew with each encounter. Alien vessels would change course just to avoid its path. But sometimes they would follow at a safe distance, trying to study it. "Another observation ship off the port side," Lisa reported. "That's the 3rd this week." Wells nodded. "Let them look. The more they see, the less likely anyone else is to try what the Zaxcar did." Kevin Nash checked his navigation screen. "Captain, long-range sensors are picking up a distress call. Looks like more pirates attacking a colony transport." "Plot the course, Mr. Nash." Standard rescue response. The crew moved with practiced ease now. They had done this many times in the past weeks. The Leviathan's quantum drive engaged and space bent around them. They appeared above a small colony ship. 5 pirate vessels surrounded it, but they scattered as soon as the Leviathan arrived. "Should we chase them?" Lisa asked. "No need," Wells said. "Send them a message. We know your engine signatures now. If we hear about you attacking anyone else, nowhere in the galaxy will be far enough to hide." The pirates fled at maximum speed. The colony ship's captain sent a thank you message, but the Leviathan was already gone, moving to its next patrol point. In his quarters that night, Kevin Nash looked at the star charts. Human space wasn't just Earth anymore. Their influence was spreading, protected by the ship that defied the galaxy's rules. "Navigation officer's log," he recorded. "Day 24 of patrol. Distance covered. Unmeasurable by standard means. Ships encountered. 15. Ships that tried to fight. 0. He smiled. "Looks like the galaxy is finally learning. Don't mess with the people who made the impossible possible." The Leviathan moved silently through space, its dark hull reflecting no light. It wasn't just a ship anymore. It was a symbol of what humanity could do, and the galaxy was watching, wondering what these creative, unpredictable humans would do next. 3 months after the Leviathan first revealed itself, the Galactic Council's main chamber was decorated for a ceremony. Earth was about to become a full member of the galactic community, the fastest any species had ever achieved this status. Admiral Hayes stood on the speaking platform, looking at the assembled aliens. Captain Wells and her crew sat in the front row, their dark uniforms standing out among the colorful alien clothes. "When we built the Leviathan," Hayes began, "we weren't trying to scare anyone. We just did what humans always do. We looked at something and thought, we can make this better." The alien representatives nodded. In 3 months, their view of humans had changed completely. 5 different species had already signed contracts to learn from Earth's engineers. In orbit above the Council world, the Leviathan floated like a dark cloud. Alien ships kept a respectful distance, but they all took pictures. Every species wanted to study the ship that had changed space warfare forever. "The quantum armor design alone is revolutionary," one alien scientist told David Miller after the ceremony. "How did you think to make it learn and adapt?" David shrugged. "We just ask ourselves, why not? That's the human way." Back on Earth, Maria Rodriguez was busy in her new office. As Earth's chief of alien relations, she had her hands full. Every day brought new messages from alien races wanting to trade, learn, or just make friends. Another request from the Zaxcar, her assistant said. "They want to know if we'll help improve their ships." Maria smiled. "Tell them yes, but remind them of the terms. No weapons upgrades until we're sure they've really changed their ways." In the shipyard hidden under the moon's surface, work was already starting on humanity's second battleship class. This one would be even more advanced. The Leviathan had shown what was possible, and human engineers were full of new ideas. Captain Wells walked through the construction area with Admiral Hayes. "Hard to believe it's only been 3 months, she said. "The galaxy feels like a completely different place." "Because it is," Hayes replied. "We didn't just show them a powerful ship. We showed them a new way of thinking." Above them, workers were installing the first pieces of quantum armor for the new ship. Unlike the Leviathan's dark hull, this one shimmered with a faint silver light. Captain's log, final entry, Wells recorded later that day. The Leviathan started as Earth's secret weapon. Now it's become something more. A symbol of human innovation. Alien ships don't run from us anymore. Instead, they follow us, eager to learn. She looked out her window at Earth below. "We thought we were building a battleship. Instead, we built a bridge between Earth and the stars. The aliens feared us for a while, but now they understand. Humans don't want to conquer the galaxy. We just want to make it better." Lisa Chen was training alien weapons officers now. Kevin Nash was teaching navigation teams how to think in quantum paths. David Miller had alien engineers following him everywhere, writing down everything he said. In the council chamber, Hayes finished his speech. The Leviathan showed the galaxy what humans can do. But that was just the beginning. We're ready to share our knowledge, to learn from you, and to help build a better future for all species. The chamber erupted in applause. On screens across the galaxy, billions of aliens watched as Earth officially joined the galactic community. The Leviathan hung in orbit above, no longer a threat, but a promise of what was possible. That evening, in a quiet moment on the Leviathan's bridge, Wells sat in her command chair. "Ship status," she asked out of habit. "All systems normal," the computer replied. "Hull integrity at 200% of original design. Quantum core efficiency increased by 85% since launch." She smiled. The ship had grown stronger, just like humanity's position in the galaxy. The aliens had tried to test Earth's strength, but instead, they had helped reveal it. "Ready for patrol," Captain Kevin Nash reported from his station. "Take us out, Mr. Nash," Wells ordered. "Let's show the galaxy what else humans can do." The Leviathan's engines lit up with their familiar blue glow. As the ship moved away from the Council world, alien vessels gave way respectfully. They still couldn't fully understand how the human ship worked, but they had learned the most important lesson. Never underestimate the species that looked at the impossible and said, "We can do better." The legend of the Leviathan would live forever in galactic history, not as a weapon of war, but as the ship that showed the galaxy humanity's true strength, the power to imagine the impossible and then make it real.